potentially have him get hurt as well, because that could come back to bite us the following week.
Well, that's a very, very good explanation to the mindset going through that game. Thanks for that. We don't have time to talk hockey. We'll skip that for now, but one final.
It is Monday, October 27th, and this is the afternoon shift. I'm Adam Llorens.
I'm Max Fuller, a.k.a. Let's get a little spooky with the Count Maxula.
Yep, Halloween week.
Are you a big vampire guy? You're a vampire guy? Werewolf guy?
What was that show when they were all shirtless? What was
Twilight?
that? Twilight.
Yeah.
No, I never watched
You
that.
never watched? You weren't
No.
Team Edward or Team Jacob?
No.
Oh, man,
no,
I was
yeah.
firmly Team Jacob.
Team Jacob.
Absolutely.
Wasn't one of them was American, one of them was like British, right?
Yeah, in real life.
In real life.
Yeah,
okay,
in real
right.
life. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was Team Jacob all
Was
the way.
that the American
That
one?
was the werewolf.
That was the
Yeah.
werewolf.
He
Okay,
lost.
got it.
He lost. He ultimately
He
lost.
Got it.
And
got
the
it.
book ended very strangely. I read all the books.
You read the book and
I read
you
all
watched
the books.
movies.
Yeah, I was I got suspended for fighting. Long story.
Okay.
I got suspended for fighting.
Wait, what? Like
in ninth
high
grade?
school?
Yeah,
In
like
oh,
ninth grade.
This is Eastview.
Eastview High School.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mr. Frost. He tackled me, our science teacher. It was a long-standing beef with this kid, but it happened to be after we played a game of like science Jeopardy.
What was the kid's name?
His name was Paul. I grew up with him.
Can't
Paul.
make it up.
It was Paul. It was Paul. I'm pretty sure they're not related though. They don't look anything alike, but maybe.
Not making it up.
I don't know. His name was literally Paul.
Yes.
And he was one of my best friends growing up. And then we started having beef, and then we fought each other.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with biology Jeopardy, but
Right.
it happened to be in class after biology Jeopardy. So everybody thought we started throwing hands
Okay.
because of Jeopardy.
Right.
But it was obviously a lot deeper than that.
Yes.
So I got suspended.
Yeah.
Didn't have anything to do. I'm like, you know what? Let me read Twilight in hopes. Because, you know, you may not believe this, lovely viewer. I wasn't always so good with the ladies. It's hard to believe. You really have to suspend your disbelief, like strain your imagination, even think about that. But it's true. And so I was like, you know what? I need some help trying to talk to girls. Maybe reading Twilight will help.
That'll help
All
you.
the girls love Twilight.
Yes.
All the girls love books.
Yes.
Chicks like dudes who read books.
Sure.
Which I'm already an avid reader.
Yes, you
voracious, if you will.
Very well read. yes.
But I was just like, so I went to the library. Twilight's obviously like the most popular book in the world at the time.
Yeah, it was.
So I went into the hold section. This is not a crime. And if it is, the statute of limitations is up.
Yeah.
Went to the hold section. Some poor guy
Yeah.
had this book on hold. I took the barcode off, put a comic book barcode on it. Bloop. Says Batman or whatever, but it's really Twilight.
Oh.
Read it in a day though. So the guy got it back.
He
pretty
got it
quickly
back,
here,
yeah.
but read it in a day.
And what happened to Paul in the backyard brawl?
Well, I'm not joking. Paul has had a pretty strange fate ever since that day. Yeah, his life has kind of just been spiraling down the drain.
That was bad Paul. We have good Paul with us today, though. What's up, good Paul?
Gray Paul.
Good Paul. Good Paul. Where's he? There he is.
Hey!
Oh, he's muted. He's muted.
Oh, Paul, we can't hear you.
Yes.
Here we go.
There we got you now, yes.
Great
What's up?
Paul, huh?
Great Paul, yes. I
said great. I said great.
Great Paul.
Yeah, I'll take either. I am getting a little grey. There's a dusting of grey in here and a little dusting of grey in here.
Yeah.
You know, it's happening.
Were you Team Edward or Team Jacob?
You know what? I don't think I really ever truly understood what was going on. Like, I think I tried to watch the film. My dad tried to get me to watch Twilight. He loved it. He loved the romance of the whole thing. I was just completely lost. I was like, here these vampires. I thought when vampires stepped in the sun, they burst into flames. No, he just kind of shimmered,
They
like
glisten.
he had some sort of glitter body lotion on or something. I was
Disco
like,
ball.
I'm out. I like my vampires exploding in flames. I'm more kind of like a True Blood kind of vampire. guy.
Oh, okay.
Team Edward wasn't, not for me.
Yeah.
So okay. Well, no, I guess no strong opinions on Team Edward or Team Jacob.
Yeah,
I was Team
got
Jacob.
Yeah,
I was
Team Jacob. Team
all the
Jacob.
way.
I love the enthusiasm.
Shout out to
for Team
Taylor
Jacob.
Lautner.
Yes.
Shout out to werewolves in
Yes.
general. AKA Frony the tiger. Speaking of animals.
Yeah, Tony the
You remember
Tiger.
Tony the
Frosted
Tiger.
Flakes.
Yeah, whatever happened to cereal mascots? I feel like they're not a thing anymore.
Not a thing
Like,
anymore,
What happened
no.
to the leprechaun guy?
Right,
That used
right,
to always
Lucky
steal
Charms.
people's Lucky
Yeah,
Charms. Like,
yeah.
give me Lucky Charms.
Right.
And why were kids so mean?
Right.
They were always like feuding
Yeah.
with these cereal mascots.
Yeah.
You know, they were like fighting the Tricks bunny. They never
Yeah.
let him get any tricks.
Tricks are for kids.
Tricks
yeah.
are for kids.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then, the Lucky Charms guy, they were always trying to keep him away. Tony the Tiger was the only one that was just like chill with everybody.
Now they named a college football bowl after him, the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl.
Really?
Yeah, in beautiful El Paso,
I
Texas.
didn't realize
My
that.
backpack
That
has
sounds
the
made
Tony.
up.
It has the logo on it every day.
I didn't
yeah.
even realize
You'll see
that.
it next time. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yes.
AKA Brother Teresa.
Sure, I love Saint Teresa of Calcutta, one of the greats.
Yeah.
Visited Minneapolis
Really?
back in the 1960s.
I had
she
no
sure
idea.
did. She sure did.
She,
yeah.
Did she go to every state? Where's she from?
India.
Okay.
I don't know if she made it to every U.S. state. She went to a lot of U.S. states.
Yeah.
But she did come to Minneapolis.
Interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that- you got that from one of your videos?
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sweet.
She actually visited St. Olaf Catholic Church in downtown Minneapolis. There's the pew where she sat. There's a plaque right there. It's actually not too far from where President John F. Kennedy sat when he made
at
an
that.
unannounced trip to St. Olaf as well.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Mother Teresa, great person, 20th century saint.
Well, they
Yes.
call me Brother Teresa.
Brother Teresa.
Brother Teresa.
Okay, yeah.
Or Brother
Brother
Teresa,
Teresa,
if you're
yes.
feeling spicy.
Yes.
AKA a million other things. Welcome back to the afternoon show.
Yes, and it's good to be back here on this Monday. It was a jam-packed weekend. What you get
Yeah.
up to
Oh,
this
I was
weekend?
puppy sitting.
Puppy sitting.
You
Okay.
know, and that puppy's got a lot of energy. I kind of forgot.
Yes.
You know, it's almost like watching a kid. It's a lot. It's a lot of maintenance.
Yep.
But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm also house sitting.
Yeah.
I got to stay at this fancy condo, 27th floor. You
Oh,
know,
nice.
hot tub. Your boys living it up. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? So I felt like I was living large this week.
That's cool. I like
Yeah,
that,
how about you?
I went to I did a little St. Paul excursion
Of course.
on Saturday.
Your second favorite city,
I
Minnesota.
love second only behind Edina. Cecil's Deli is the #1 restaurant for me.
Yeah.
though. So
Still never been.
Saw Ivana Hershkowitz. She came on the show to talk about Rosh Hashanah. Saw
Oh,
her on
sweet.
Saturday. That was fun.
Awesome.
Hung out with some friends. Watched a lot of football and watched a lot of baseball. And
Yeah.
The next 3 nights we'll just be locked into baseball here.
Oh, it's the next
On
it's
Fox.
back to back to back.
On Fox.
Heck
Game
yeah.
3 tonight, Game 4 tomorrow, Game 5 Wednesday.
Can't wait.
It should be a really fun
Could
sports week.
not wait.
You know, and that's a good segue. It's the sports equinox. It's only the 32nd time in history that this has happened.
Wow.
NHL, NBA, MLB, and NBA or NFL all playing on the same day. MLS playoffs.
MLS as well. I think there's even tennis today.
There's tennis. MLS playoffs in Minneapolis or in the Twin Cities.
In St. Paul.
They're playing the
Seattle Sounders.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
It's a big deal.
it is a big deal. There's a lot going on.
Get their first trophy for the whole team.
Trying to get the first trophy for the whole team. Hopefully, some of these Minnesota teams that are in action today will show up, unlike the Gophers on Saturday.
Pretty much everybody.
We love the Gophers. We love the
We
Gophers.
do love the Gophers, but
Yes.
it was a miserable Minnesota
Yes.
sports week. And even when we won,
Right.
we ultimately lost, as we found out today.
Right.
That's a tease for later in the show. But we'll get through. We'll talk about all
Yes.
of it, all of the Minnesota sports,
Yes.
including the Vikings. I believe our very own Ahmad Hicks is coming to break down what a disaster of a game that was.
He's right. That's right. He was at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood with the team and saw all of that travesty on Thursday night. So a lot to unpack there. Let's get into some headlines here briefly. You just teased ahead into the Timberwolves winning, but then they lose. It just came out really a couple hours ago. Anthony Edwards, he's expected to miss at least 1 week with a right hamstring strain. Your thoughts on this? I mean, the season's 3 games in.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
You know, it sucks. It happened only, a handful of minutes into yesterday's game against the Pacers, the home opener. Obviously, it sucks for Anthony Edwards, sucks for the team. It's super unfortunate for all the fans. It's the home opener. You got so much hype. There's the new presentation, not just the way when they're calling out the names and stuff, doing the introductions, but the new stage lighting. I know a lot of people have been asking for it. My dog Mason Jobnick, he's watching right now. He's been asking for this for years. Now it's like more of a theatrical kind of lighting in the Target Center. It's dimmer on the outside, and it's all the focus is on the court. There's before and after pictures that you can look up on Twitter. It looks absolutely incredible, just the whole presentation of it. Yeah, and the players were raving about it. They're super excited about it, so that's awesome. But unfortunately, no Anthony Edwards for at least a week. We saw with Steph Curry, who had a similar injury. I think it was a grade 1 hamstring injury as well. Last year in the playoffs, that was a 7 to 10 day kind of deal. And that's quick healing, you
Right.
know. So like it could be longer. I know I saw Shams earlier before the Timberwolves had 1 week. Shams. I don't, is it Shams?
I think it's one of the two. I think he goes
I
by
hear
both.
Yeah, it's like he said 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll probably the happy medium is probably 1.5 weeks to expect Anthony Edwards back. So it's super unfortunate, but hey, we saw it last night. The Timberwolves can do it without him. We don't want that to be the case for an extended period of time. But when you got Julius Randle balling like he is, he'll pick up, and we got some other guys ready to pick up the slack. So it sucks though.
Yeah, that theatrical lighting, they've been doing that at Madison Square Garden, the Staples or the Crypto.com arena for years now. I did see the pictures. It does look awesome.
It looks awesome.
And maybe you'll be there tonight. Maybe.
Late.
We'll talk more about that. 8:30 tip, very late. Okay, and very quickly, just to follow up from a story we did last week, which is getting great engagement out there on YouTube and our social platforms.
Hey.
The Louvre Museum in Paris, the jewelry heist. They have apprehended 2 suspects. One was trying to leave Paris to try to board a plane for Algeria.
Wow,
So,
that's crazy. He got that close. That close
yeah.
to getting away. I'm curious why. I guess we will never know unless we actually ask the people themselves. Why do they wait so long? Nobody knows it's you right away.
Yeah.
So you could just dip out right away. I don't get why they wait so long, but curiously, they have not gotten the jewels back. And some say they may never. They could be long gone forever now.
Yeah.
We have no idea where they ended up. But I got to imagine in 2025, there's a million different ways to catch criminals these days. So
would Algeria be the place that you would escape to if?
Probably not. Probably not. But I've never been. Maybe it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't think Algeria would be the place. I remember when Sweden, they kind of thought I was like I got into the country shadily when I was leaving the country.
Yeah.
And they were like, "How did you get here?" And I was like, "Do you really think that I'm like escaping from my perils in America here in Sweden? Stockholm, Sweden, where I stick out like a sore freaking thumb. Yeah. I might as well be Waldo. You know, like, so like it was. That's probably not where I would go.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I'm curious where the other guys went.
Yeah.
Or if they're around or what's going to happen.
I think it was definitely more than 2 people.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
We'll see. We'll see what ends up happening to this. This is it's not. I don't know if somber is the right word, but tomorrow is a kind of a dark day in the Twin Cities. Target, they're going to lay off at least 1,000 employees tomorrow. These are pretty massive layoffs that are happening. It's the latest move by incoming CEO Michael Fidelki, who's going to be taking the helm in February. We're going to be talking to a Minneapolis-based consulting firm HR president, Jenna Estlick. She'll be joining us in the studio next to talk about, if you are one of those 1,000, what do you do? What are your next steps? How should you approach it?
For sure. There's layoffs happening, unfortunately, all around the country and all over different industries.
And this has been something I know that you and we've both experienced personally.
Absolutely.
It ain't easy.
No.
And I would say for the first week, it's kind of,
it's like, all right,
some free
I'm chilling.
By
week 2, you're like, all right, I need to do something.
It's not good.
And it just sucks because it's like a firing is one thing you could at least understand. You could go, okay, I did something wrong, or I wasn't living up to par.
Right.
But a layoff, it just feels so soulless, so heartless. It's kind of just like a middle finger as you're going out the door. Yeah. So it just it hurts, and I feel for all those people that are around the country, and especially all these people at Target as well.
Totally. So we're going to be getting into all these Target layoffs coming up right after this. Don't go anywhere. Maxx, layoffs. It's something that you and I have both experienced ourselves recently. It's or not, maybe not recently, but over the last several years. It's not a fun experience.
Not one bit. You just feel really powerless, helpless, and it's very confusing. Everything looks blurry. The future, the outlook looks blurry. It looks like there's no way to go on, but there always is another way.
That's right. Tomorrow is going to be kind of a dark day in Minneapolis. About 1,000 Target employees are going to be laid off. Joining us now is Jenna Eslick. She is the president of Human Resources Solutions at the Minneapolis-based consulting firm Verseek, and she'll tell us more about what to expect here. Jenna, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much. Yeah, so listen, we have 1,000 employees that are scheduled to be laid off. What should employees do if they're one of the 1,000 tomorrow?
Yeah. First is logistically, right? If you are informed that your position is being impacted by a layoff, is understanding your severance available to you. You'll receive a separation agreement, understanding your benefit options. You'll want to apply for unemployment. So those logistical things are the first things right out of the gate that you'll want to focus on. Second, I would say, is really taking that time to process, right? What you alluded to, it's a major life event, and it's a really hard thing. And so giving yourself that space to feel all the things, right? All the emotions from frustration, sadness, anxiety, all super normal, but giving your space to really just kind of sit in that and work through that. Next, I would say once you're ready, right, to start having some conversations and tapping into your network, is coming up with what is your story going to be, right? And so, for example, my position was impacted by the layoff at Target or whatever company due to restructuring, and I'm seeking career opportunities in X, Y, and Z. Just keeping it really clear and to the point. Coming up with your personal, or I should say refreshing your personal brand. So your LinkedIn presence, updating LinkedIn, updating your resume, reaching out to people within your network. So previous managers and colleagues, and explaining to them what you're going through, what's changed. Perhaps asking if they could be references for you. And then I've said this before, but I can't underestimate really tapping into your network, right? And going back to the story that you've crafted and kind of sharing what's changed for you. And I find that, especially here locally, people are so willing to help out. Yeah. If you just tell them what it is that you need, you'll get support. So I think that's the thing, is being vulnerable and being able to put yourself out there and ask for help. Yeah. A couple other things I would mention. Tapping into other partners. So as part of severance, sometimes outplacement services or career coaches are available to impacted employees. So that might be something that could be something that, folks are eligible for, or that might be something that you invest in. The other thing would be, leveraging a recruiting partner such as Verseek. Executive, professional, and interim recruiting is what Verseek does. We focus largely on HR, IT, finance and accounting, CEO, and board level positions. But recruiting partners have deep relationships, especially Verseek locally here. They have insights into the market, what companies are hiring, and can be a really great coach.
Yeah.
Would you put me down as a reference?
Of course I would.
Absolutely. I'd lie for you too.
Yes.
Absolutely. I'd be like, yep, I was his manager. He's the best person I've ever met.
Yes.
Of course that's not a lie.
Right.
That part's not a lie.
Right. No, I appreciate it. And what did we say last week? We tell each other before every show, you're great.
You're great. I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. You mentioned it. One of those kind of scary feelings is like updating your resume, especially if it's been a while, where you're like, oh my God, I don't even know how to make one of these things anymore. Like what would you recommend to people? Like what makes a resume stand out to you as someone that like hires people and recruits people?
That's a great question. I think being able to make your skills and experiences transferable. So someone that's perhaps not within your industry, would they understand what it is that you're trying to say and what you've achieved, what experiences you're bringing? Not making it too lengthy, so keeping it fairly concise. ChatGPT is available, and it can be a great starting point.
Maxx loves AI.
Oh, my God.
Right.
Don't even get me started.
But there are really a lot of tips and tricks out on LinkedIn. Again, different partners, recruiting partners can give you some insights as well.
I know when I went through my experience, I didn't even know what severance was. That was a word that I had never heard before. I quickly learned what it was. Maybe there's people at home, though, that were in the same boat that I was in that don't know what severance is.
Sure.
What is a severance package?
Yeah, so severance is typically something that you're eligible for, right, in the term of its pay due to the loss of your employment. So that's something that the employer is paying you as part of that career transition. And what that severance package looks like will vary from employer to employer.
It's not just a TV show on Apple TV. It's not just a TV show. No, I know one thing that can be really scary for people is like losing insurance and possible like health benefits. Like what? How do you find out? Because I know I've heard like if you get laid off, you have until the end of the month, or like what is kind of the usually the rule of thumb when it comes to insurance and like health benefits?
Sure. So not a benefits expert, so let me first say that. But typically, if you're enrolled in benefits through your employer, like you said, your benefits would run through the end of the month. Some companies may extend benefit coverage. Otherwise, there is COBRA, right, to continue on with your benefit coverage through that your employer offered, but under COBRA.
Okay.
In your career, Jenna, have you ever had to lay somebody off before?
I have.
So tell us what that experience is like from the other side, because as an employee that's getting laid off, it could be a pretty traumatic experience. What's the other side? What's the other side? What are they going through? Maybe the Target equivalents of Jenna tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a really, really tough day. Whether you're a leader or you are an HR partner having to deliver that message to someone that is life-changing is really, really hard. So many times in my career, when I've had to deliver those difficult messages, the employees on the other side of the table are so kind and thoughtful, and they're like, this must be a really hard day for you too. And you're going, wow, this is not even about me, this is about you. But I think that, it's, having empathy and really just kind of putting yourself in the other person's shoes and understanding that it is a really, really tough day. Not to minimize that impact at all, I will say through my career, I've seen so many success stories of someone that's impacted by a layoff, right? And in that moment, it's so difficult and such a range of emotions, right? And like, well, what about this? And what do I do next? And I find that so many people land in an amazing spot, right? A place that they never would have imagined or maybe never ended up in had that layoff not happened. So again, not to minimize at all, but I think that for people to understand there is another side of things, and things do have a way of working out. But it's a really hard thing to go through.
Man, I wish I got laid off by you. It did not go that way. Let me tell you, I was not saying it must be a hard day for you to the person on the other end of the phone. That's for sure. But I appreciate your empathetic approach for sure. Again, going back to like getting out into the job world, the job search. Maybe some people that haven't had to like apply and do this stuff for a while. I mean, there's all this kind of talk out there that like Indeed and all these websites are kind of over flooded and people aren't necessarily getting responses. Is there still any merit to the old school methods, cold calling someone and be like, hey, I applied, or walking in and trying to get a handshake and hand someone an application? Like, is there still any merit to the old school methods these days?
I think creativity is a great thing, right? And anytime you can get someone, face to face or live, is going to be better. That's not always possible. So as much as you can, find connections at companies, right, that you might be interested in, or tap into your network. Who do you know that might know someone that works for a company that you're interested in, and trying to really kind of build those relationships and get insight from those that have those connections or work at those companies is something I would stress. You're right, though. There is an influx of applicants. So that is the reality. So unfortunately, I would say the days of applying online and hoping for the best, we just aren't seeing that anymore. So again, tapping into that network and asking for help.
Yeah. And what would you tell people that are looking for that job, and maybe they're getting a little frustrated, or the other flip side is that some people have been employed for so long and they get laid off, and that first couple of weeks, it's kind of like, oh, this is great. I have so much free time. I'm getting the unemployment check coming in. Just so those people don't get so comfortable, what would you kind of say to them, like in terms of like trying to get back on the mend there?
Yeah, that's a great question. Sure. Giving yourself, that time initially, but then not waiting too long to start networking. There is power in networking, definitely. And I think having a routine. So
that's huge.
Once, the first couple of weeks or whatever that time period looks like for you, to kind of settle in and kind of wrap your head around what's happening, coming up with a routine. So, do you have a goal of how many networking coffees or lunches in a week you're going to have, or the number of emails you're going to send out, number of jobs you're going to apply for? Having some goals, I think, is healthy.
Yeah, positive routine too, because I got into some negative routines.
Yes.
Going to drink a 40 after after getting laid off is not a good routine to have. Certainly not. So, like, in general, like, what would you say is the first thing someone should do if they are experiencing a layoff? Like, what's like the first step?
Well, making sure you understand your benefits, right? Like, and understand kind of the financial component, right? So, are you eligible for severance? Healthcare benefits is going to be really important. What other benefits might you have available to you, whether it's outplacement, it's career coaching, understanding, maybe what changes you might need to make, hopefully temporarily from a financial budgeting standpoint. And then, coming up with your plan, and hopefully maybe you have some mentors within your network to be able to talk to and kind of pick their brain. Not waiting too long in the networking, I think, is really important.
Jenna, I think you said it so well earlier in this interview, where making the most of the opportunity that you're given, and sometimes the layoff can really end up being a blessing in disguise. Yeah. And I know I certainly wouldn't be sitting here had I not gotten laid off from my previous job.
Yeah.
And, in retrospect, I am grateful that happened, and it's hard to see in the moment.
For sure, it's really hard to see in the moment. Like I was telling you off the air, I kind of realized after my layoff, is just like work was my whole life. Like I need to be a person that's separate from work. Like my whole life can't be career and work oriented, So it's like, it can be a blessing in disguise, but obviously it's a really hard moment in the time.
No doubt.
And we're lucky enough to have bounced back, and some people aren't.
That's right. And I think a lot of it, it's just self-belief and persistence, and that routine is so huge, because it can be easy to kind of stoop and start feeling sorry for yourself, and then go to some dark places.
Absolutely.
So,
and how about, Jenna, like if someone wants to explore like a career change, how would you, like if they're just like, you know what, I got laid off, maybe I don't even like this job anymore. Like what would you say is like the first steps to kind of like exploring a different career?
Well, that's a great question. I think looking at, what work is the most meaningful to you? Where do you feel like you add the most value? And so kind of taking away like the job title associated it, and more of what is the type of work, right, where you will be most successful or that you most enjoy, and start looking at it that way. Again, I think through conversation, right, if you're able to talk with, others in your network and sharing your broader experiences and where your interests lie, they might be able to help give you some ideas on that. Career coaches as well, recruiters. But I think really looking at like those skills and experiences, and what do you most enjoy, right? Where do you feel like you add the most value?
Jenna Eslick, the president of HR at the Minneapolis-based consulting firm Verseek. We really appreciate your time, Jenna. This was a really great conversation. And
for sure.
I feel for all the people out there that'll get laid off tomorrow, but like you said, maybe, it could end up being, a good thing in the long run. It's hard to see in the short term, but in the long term,
it's
it might be
really hard to see in the moment, but you never know what could come from it.
Yes. Jenna, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate
welcome.
it. Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Coming up next, Paul Milgate, he claims national parks, they're the best thing that America has ever invented.
It inspired a heated debate earlier.
Earlier. He's not entirely wrong.
No, it's up there.
It's up there. Unfortunately, our national parks are being impacted by the government shutdown, day 27. We're going to be talking to the former superintendent of Glacier National Park coming up right after this. Welcome back to the afternoon shift. Maxx, national parks, the government shutdown. They're all kind of being impacted here.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things that when you hear about the government being shut down, maybe unless you're Paul Milgate, it's probably not the first thing that comes to mind. But like there's a wide-reaching impact of this government shutdown, and national parks are feeling the brunt end of it right now.
Yeah, there were some videos that went viral of people illegally base jumping in Yosemite National Park over the weekend. Let's roll in that clip if we have it. This stuff is just wild about how people are able to access these parks like this. It's just like crazy.
It's kind of just like unregulated free for all right
yeah.
now.
Let's see.
My goodness.
What? They're just.
I mean,
that's crazy.
So it should be. It's worth noting that base jumping. This is Yosemite National Park here that we've got, and where they're jumping from is El Capitan, the really famous climbing wall that you may have seen in the documentary Dawn Wall. So lots of people go out there and go rock climbing up El Capitan, but base jumping is not allowed usually. And so the big question is like, what these people, what's the impact of these people doing this, because there's no one there right now to get on top of it and make sure that it doesn't happen. That's kind of the big concern. And when you see how tiny they look against those mountains, it's a very big drop.
Is it bad that I thought that El Capitan was just the name of a theater on Hollywood Boulevard? It is. It's a very famous, very famous theater on Hollywood Boulevard.
I just thought it was
the Pantages Theater of
Los
Angeles.
Okay,
yes.
I didn't realize that.
Very famous theater.
Wasn't it? Is it somebody? Isn't it an athlete's nickname El Capitan? Am
Sure,
I tripping?
it probably
I feel like
is.
I feel like
yeah.
it is. I feel like I didn't know
that was a national park thing.
I had no idea either.
Yeah, it does look beautiful. Anyways. Today is day 27 of the government shutdown. The national parks are being affected. Here to talk to us more about how they're being impacted is Jeff Mao. He was the superintendent of Glacier National Park from 2013 to 2022. Jeff, welcome to the afternoon shift. How are you, sir?
Good. Nice to be with you.
It's good to be with you, too. Jeff, you were the superintendent at Glacier back during the government shutdown in December 2018 to January 2019. Can you bring us back to that time? What was it like being the superintendent of Glacier during the shutdown at that point?
Well, Glacier National Park, of course, has a lot of connections to Minnesota. I have a lot of connections to Minnesota, but there was a lot of attention as to what was going on. And keep in mind that shutdown in 2018 and 19 actually happened in December and January. So there wasn't a lot of activity going in the park. There's some skiing and snowshoeing going on, but certainly wasn't the height of visitation. And so it's a little different this time around, because we're still, even though the Going to the Sun Road, which everybody comes to drive, is the upper sections are closed due to snow. It's closed for the winter. There's still people visiting. The colors are spectacular this year. So there's a lot of interest here. And I hear that from the business community that, boy, this season is really sort of hanging on, even though there is a shutdown that's taking place. And we certainly learned in 2018 and 19 that the longer the shutdown goes on, the more issues you see, similar to what you just showed with base jumping. I saw some footage from Yosemite as well earlier today with just the sort of line of cars. It's constant coming in through the past the visitor gates, the entrance stations, but they're not stopping because there's nobody there to collect their fees or to give them the information they need to know about how to behave when you're in a national park.
Yeah, it kind of just seems like a free-for-all right now. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think one of as we've seen visitation really take off in the national parks, we're seeing a lot of people enjoying the parks and people who've never been to parks. And so they don't necessarily know how our national park system is different than, say, your city park or being on Forest Service lands, and the issues with dogs, the issues with wildlife, visitor safety issues. Those are the things that people are missing when they're coming in the gates. And, it sort of makes it easy for people who want to do things like base jumping or camping illegally or, going up Half Dome without getting the proper permit. It makes it easier.
Yeah, it's just
and
been
just
absolute
not enough
chaos.
staff to monitor it.
Absolute chaos at these national parks, and just kind of seems like a free for all. Everybody's just kind of doing whatever they want to do without people there to kind of safeguard everything. And obviously, there's all different types of impacts all around the scale. But what is the environmental impact of this government shutdown? Because obviously, that's kind of top of the list, is keeping these national parks pristine.
Absolutely, and I think the staff is key to that. National parks are not designed to operate with minimal staffing. I mean, they're high visitation areas. We have lots of visitor facilities that need to be maintained, water systems. It's as a superintendent, it almost feels like you're running a small city, really. And yeah, when the staff aren't there, I think it just opens things up, and to a lot of activities where people don't even think or recognize the impacts to the resources. So, garbage. There's a lot of people expect to see garbage cans and expect that somebody's going to empty it at the end of the day. That's not happening necessarily. The staffing is so thin that garbage accumulates. We're seeing people with camping where they're not supposed to, having campfires where they're not supposed to. I've heard reports of dogs on trails, which usually are prohibited. There's just a number of resource impacts, but it's also visitor impacts as well. And not just visitors, but students. I mean, national parks are incredible places for education programs. And the National Park Service has really built up its education programs, inviting school kids to come in, learn about the parks, learn about the values of our national parks. Most of those programs are just not happening right now. And there'll be, I won't say a whole generation, but there's definitely a year's worth of kids, the longer this goes on, that is, or at least, a month's worth of kids anyway, that normally come to our parks, who are not going to have that opportunity. And, that's part of your birthright as an American citizen, is to understand and appreciate our national parks.
And Jeff, I've just got a quick question. Without the staff, national parks, especially something like Glacier or Yellowstone, where you've got really large, potentially dangerous animals, is it a scary place when you don't have the staff there? Because my experience when I've been to Glacier, or you come across a grizzly bear, a ranger isn't very far behind or very close by to kind of warn people, don't go any further, or stay the distance that you need to stay. Without those staff, surely it's a dangerous place to be, right?
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, you're talking about the bear jams. We call them bear jams or wildlife jams, when there's, wildlife next to the road and the cars all stack up and people get out of their cars. And I think we've all seen those YouTubes from Yellowstone about people getting way too close to wildlife. And what sometimes happens in that case is, whether it be buffalo, whether it be elk, whether it be bears even, moose, that sometimes they don't appreciate being that close to people, and they'll take a charge at them, they'll take a run at them, and yeah, it can be danger. But I think the lack of staffing also is just that sort of visitor response, whether it's a car accident, whether it's somebody who's fallen on the trail. There's not adequate staff to respond to a lot of those emergencies, and so it puts a lot of pressure on outside search and rescue needs and things like that.
Jeff, I want to go back to December 2018 when you had the shutdown and you were at Glacier. What happened to your employees during that 2-month stretch while they were furloughed? Did you kind of keep them warm and tell them what was going on? Did some of them leave and never come back permanently? Did you retain most of those employees? Like what were those interactions like?
It was endurance. What we used to do is we had a Facebook page that wasn't part of the government system, or we'd use to sort of stay in touch. We try to look for volunteer opportunities to bring people together. So volunteering at the food bank, or doing litter cleanups, or whatever made sense at that time, to just keep ourselves connected to each other. I think that's. Yeah, I'd say one of the biggest impacts of the shutdown is the impacts on the organization, because when you start losing touch with people, it makes it harder. Did we lose people at the end of the shutdown? There are a few folks that might have gotten frustrated with that and decided they need to move on to some place that didn't go through these things. I was just talking to somebody in the park today about how's it going, how's everyone doing, and are they finding ways to support each other, and they said, yeah, it's going okay. People are hanging in there. There's still a lot of uncertainty because the current administration is still saying that there's more rifts to come, and that's a big unknown for a lot of people. Is even if the shutdown ends, will they have a job, on the other end? So it's been a really tough 9 months for a lot of people in the Park Service. There's just been so much organizational change and frankly chaos in how things are being managed.
And I mean, obviously, you guys at the parks do an incredible job keeping the parks clean, keeping people informed, and a million other things. How can the regular person help in this situation in the meantime while the government is shut down?
Well, I mean, I think as we see what the impacts are, and like you said, there's a whole litany of impacts that are accumulating if you have the right sort of media feed. And as a visitor, if you have to go to a park, how you can minimize that, how you be sensitive to what some of those issues are, educating yourself about that beforehand. Though quite honestly, I am one of several superintendents that signed a letter to the Secretary of Interior before the shutdown, and actually just a week ago to the Secretary of Interior, urging him these parks should really be closed until there's adequate staffing. That's kind of the bottom line for us, is that unless you can protect the resources, you really shouldn't be allowing visitors in the park. So it's a difficult position right now, because while Glacier is sort of at the tail end and getting ready for winter, which means there's not a lot of activity in the park, other parks in the South are, they're just going into their busy time. So for them to sort of, throttle back and think about how they're going to operate it going into the busiest time of the season, it's a very difficult no-win situation for staff, for the resources, and to some extent even the visitors.
Jeff Mao, the former superintendent of Glacier National Park. Jeff, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Yes. Great to be with you.
Thanks. I'm trying to think of the national parks I've been to. I've been to Great Smoky Mountains down in Tennessee.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
You're not a park guy, I don't
Not
feel
a park
like.
guy, but I did enjoy the Great Smoky Mountains. Yeah,
I've never heard of that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to Google that.
Yeah,
It's probably beautiful.
Yeah,
man.
Cades Cove. Yeah, right outside of Knoxville.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, so really
Shout out to
nice.
all the national parks out there. The greatest invention in American history, according
Yes.
to Paul Milgate.
Yeah, what's your favorite national park?
I don't know.
Or better
any off
question,
the top.
what is your favorite American invention?
Probably the Soldier Boy.
The
I
Soulja Boy.
mean, that's got to be up there. The
That's your
Soulja
number
Boy?
one American event of all
mean,
the
think
inventions.
about
the
it.
light bulb.
The light bulb is there,
all
up
of
there.
it.
The internet,
the red light.
jazz
the
music.
Jazz music,
You
yeah.
know, but I
Yeah.
think the Soldier Boy is
Yeah.
probably the most important out of all
Right,
those.
right.
Don't you think the Soldier Boy is kind of like
Yeah. Yeah, football,
Yeah,
baseball,
real football.
baseball.
baseball?
No,
No, I think the Soldier Boy is
The
firmly,
Soldier Boy's taking
firmly
it.
number one.
Basketball, nope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. I mean, you're making some good points.
Yeah.
You're making some good points.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, can it?
Right.
Like, people are still doing it
Right.
to this day. People
true.
like the alien. We're gonna beam that song up to the aliens.
Yeah.
Someday the aliens will be doing the Soldier Boy as well.
That's right.
It's forever.
They do
Immortal.
the dance all around the world too. We just mentioned some sports there. We mentioned football, basketball. We didn't mention hockey. The Canadians got that one.
Yeah, they do.
But we will talk some Minnesota Wild coming up next.
Yeah.
Newsflash: they've lost 6 of their last 7.
Oh my god.
The Gophers, they lost only by 38.
Oh.
In Iowa. This
No big
weekend.
deal.
Only by 38. Our friend Tony Liebert called it the second worst loss in Minnesota program history.
Second worst.
Second-
probably
only-
Bowling Green.
Bowling
right?
Green,
Yeah,
he listed
Bowling
that as
Green.
number 1.
Bowling
Yeah.
Green was pretty bad.
Yeah. The Timberwolves, they won, but then they lost. So, and then we talked about the Vikings. We're going to talk more Vikings later in today's show,
Absolutely.
too. So,
Wow,
yes.
can't wait for that.
Yeah. A little bit of a optimistic Minnesota sports roundup coming up next. Welcome back to the afternoon shift. It was a rough weekend in Minnesota sports. You can even bring it to Thursday if you really want to.
Yeah, that's really where it started.
It really started on Thursday. The Vikings and the Timberwolves, they had the double whammy in the City of Angels. They lost to the Chargers, and then the Lakers, and then the Gophers on Saturday. And
it was just a uniquely miserable Minnesota sports weekend. Like you said, it started with the Vikings getting belts to butts from the LA Chargers. Wasn't even close for a single second. No, basically
they had the pick six that got called back.
Yeah,
exactly. and he didn't pick it off. He didn't pick it off.
No, he didn't. But everything just went from bad to worse with the Minnesota Vikings. I know some people that went out there for the twofer. They were 0-for because the Timberwolves lost to the Lakers the very next day. Maybe the worst loss of the entire sports weekend was the Golden Gophers.
Yeah, it was bad.
41-3 loss to the Iowa Hawkeyes. The unranked Iowa Hawkeyes following up a big-time win against the Cornhuskers with maybe probably a top 10 loss in program history.
Yeah.
And PJ Fleck came out this morning and said that was absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up there with Bowling Green, which was just an absolute nightmare. We don't even have to talk about that. It's like almost saying Voldemort saying Bowling Green. It's just like, Gophers fans don't even want to hear those two words.
Yes.
But the Iowa Hawkeyes is going to be up there, too, because this is not the Iowa Hawkeyes. This is not your grandpappy's Iowa Hawkeyes. Yeah. This is the okay, middle of the ground, a little cum sa Iowa Hawkeyes, and they absolutely obliterated the Minnesota Golden Gophers. So that's super unfortunate. The Wild lost not once, but twice. And like you said, 6 of their last 7 games. Injuries just piling up. I know Zach Bogosian got injured. Marcus Foligno had an X-ray. They're just losing guys left and right, and they cannot win a game to save their lives. They made a valiant comeback to force overtime. They get the overtime loss point, but still losing 6 of your last 7. The Wild fan base is deflated already. Just a few weeks into the season, and then the Minnesota Timberwolves bounce back from their loss and beat the Pacers yesterday, but lose Anthony Edwards in the first quarter. And as the Timberwolves announced today, he's going to be out for at least a week, possibly even longer.
What's that song by the Commodores? Once, twice, 3 times a lady. It's such a banger.
It's such a banger.
Let's start with the Timberwolves.
I don't know what was worse. That's your rendition of that song or the Minnesota Sports Weekend. I mean, it's up there. Both are up there.
I don't think my singing's that bad.
It's not that bad.
The Timberwolves. Let's start with that because at least you can get your free Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich today, everybody.
That is true.
Because they missed the Pacers missed 2 free throws.
Absolutely.
But the Timberwolves did win. They played the Nuggets tonight at 8:30. Yeah. You might be at the game.
Might be there. So super late tip, but obviously you never want to go against one of the best players, possibly the best player on planet Earth, without your best player.
Yeah, it's a kind of a tough stretch for the Timberwolves coming up here. You got the Nuggets tonight, the Lakers, they already beat them on Friday.
Right, but no
Wednesday.
Luka. I believe Luka is out. No Luka or no LeBron.
But don't worry, they got Bronny playing. They'll be fine. The Lakers.
It would be the most Minnesota sports thing for Bronny to just ball out against the Timberwolves.
Right.
God, I hope that doesn't happen.
Right. The Timberwolves. What are you making them out of the gate after 3 games? I mean, Anthony Edwards aside, are you liking what you're seeing after 3 games?
I am. It's still. I mean, obviously there's some growing pains with Dante kind of stepping into that starting lineup. That point guard isn't his natural position, but I feel like he's kind of getting his feet underneath him. I think he had something like 17 yesterday. Julius Randle has been absolutely on fire over the last 3 games, averaging over 20 points. I mean, him and Anthony Edwards together is a top 10 scoring duo in the NBA. And obviously Julius Randle, he's going to have to pick up a lot of slack with no Ant in the lineup. I would anticipate maybe they go big and maybe Naz Reid steps into the starting lineup. That kind of is the one that makes the most sense for me coming off of the bench. And we all know how Naz Reid does well already coming off the bench, but he produces even more when he's a part of that starting lineup. So I expect them to be able to hold the fort down. It's like they got the Lakers coming up. They got the Nuggets tonight, which is going to be tough. A retooled Nuggets that doesn't just have Nikola Jokic. They probably had the best offseason of any of the Western Conference contenders. They kind of filled almost all of the gaps that they need in their team, and they're going to be a championship contender again. So it's going to be rough tonight. It's going to be rough against the Lakers team. Even though they don't have LeBron and Luka, they're still a well-coached team, and it's the Lakers. You just never know what's going to happen. But I mean, they got the Hornets coming up. That's at least got a break right there, and hopefully they can hold down the fort. At least go 500 until Anthony Edwards comes comes back. It's never a good thing for this type of injury to happen, but at least it's happening this early in the season. So even if they lose all of these games and everything just starts going down the drain, they can bounce back when Anthony Edwards returns.
Let's move on to the Wild. The record 3-5-2. They've lost 6 of their last 7. Losses, the 2 straight losses this weekend. They're playing tomorrow against the Jets. Are you just kind of at a little bit of an ends with the Wild? It's like
kind of just. It feels like another season where it's just going to go the same way. I've seen this movie almost every single year that this movie has been out. It's like the Wild kind of they'll do bad. They'll have these long stretches where they're not doing so good, and then they'll have long stretches where they're hot, and then they end up at the end of the season a middling team. Maybe they sneak into the playoffs, get bounced in the first round like they've done for over a decade at this point, and then never bottom out. They never bottom out. They never are so bad that they hit rock bottom and they get that generational kind of player that can change everything. And obviously they have Kirill Kaprizov. They do have that generational player, highest paid player in NHL history, by the way. But they just can't score 5-on-5 right now. They've been great with the penalty kill, not the penalty kill, I should say, on the power play. But they just can't score 5-on-5 right now, and that's never a recipe for success in the National Hockey League. And similar story to how it's gone over the last couple of years, as injuries just tend to mount and pile up. Obviously, we know hockey is a brutal sport in general, and the Wild just never get the luck of the draw when it comes to the health bug. So it sucks. It's really unfortunate, but it kind of feels like it's going to be another one of those seasons. I know it's only a couple weeks in, but it just like the play that you're seeing on the ice, it just feels like it's going to be another one of those seasons. Maybe we'll talk to Jesse later in the week, and she'll be more optimistic than I am. But right now, from what I'm seeing from the Wild fan base, it seems like everybody's kind of preparing for the worst and busting out their umbrellas for a couple more rainy days throughout the year.
Already the negativity with the Wild. I want to try to go to a Wild game. I think
it's
next
fun,
week,
man.
Next Tuesday they're playing the Nashville.
Oh
Predators.
yeah,
I
your
grew up
squad.
a big Preds fan.
Your squad. You went to the first game or something?
I did go to the first ever Nashville Predators. Nobody knew what hockey was.
Yeah,
not football on ice. Football on ice. That's how it was marketed. That's
genius marketing, honestly,
and it worked,
especially for the South. Yeah,
it definitely worked. The team was terrible, but it worked. Okay, the Gophers, like I said, lost to Iowa 41-3. This comes after the top 25 win, barely, number 25 Nebraska the week before.
I don't even know what you say.
I feel like this was a Gophers team preseason. I guess I was reading a lot that this was kind of a sleeper Big Ten team.
Yeah.
Maybe they weren't going to win the Big Ten. I get it.
But some people peg them to be kind of like the surprise, almost Indiana, this season.
Yes.
And just obviously has not panned out that way. I mean, they've had some big wins along the way, but losing 41-3 to a pretty run-of-the-mill Iowa Hawkeyes team. Drake Lindsay looked, probably the worst game of his college career, 3 interceptions. We know we've been wanting PJ to open up this passing game, but so far it's been mixed results throughout this year. Obviously, we saw with Maxx Brosmer, it was awesome last year, and he got in the game.
Yeah.
I should have put a bet down.
He
Drove
threw
over to
4
Iowa.
passes.
He threw 4 passes.
Yes.
4 passes. Pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know if JJ can't go.
3 for 4, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what. Hey, yes. I've been saying. But maybe Maxx Brosmer, maybe he's got another year of eligibility back, and he can go back to the Gophers because they need some help in the passing game. It's just been up and down with more downs than ups. And this is, again, like you said, people that know way more about the Gophers, like our friend Tony Lieber said, this is one of the worst losses in program history, and it's just a terrible way to follow up a really big time win, a field storming win against the Cornhuskers, and you come out completely flat against the Iowa Hawkeyes. It's just, again, kind of the Minnesota Gophers experience when it comes to football.
We're going to be talking Vikings later in today's show around 4:20 with Ahmad Hicks, and so we'll save all the Gophers talk for them. But just, I guess you brought up Maxx Brosmer's name. Would you rather see him than JJ McCarthy?
I don't know about rather. I think you just got
this would be a hot take.
It'd be a super hot take. There are some people out in the Vikings world, Vikings fandom, that believe that Maxx Brosmer is better than JJ McCarthy. I don't think we've seen enough from either to ever really determine that. And again, you spent the draft capital, the high first round draft capital on JJ McCarthy. Whether people want to try to put it, you got to figure it out. You got to figure out what you got. You can't just leave that question mark up in the air and then you trade him and then maybe he's a rock star. Maybe he's Drake May. We're seeing a lot of these young guys are coming into the league. They're struggling, and now Drake May looks like a bona fide franchise QB. He's got that Patriots team winning like Tom Brady, like the Tom Brady days. You know, they got a shot to win the AFC East, which I think people
Super Bowl.
Exactly. Yeah. People thought that they were going to probably be a team that falls by the wayside. The Buffalo Bills are just going to run through the AFC East. The Patriots got Drake May. I mean, you see Bo Nix. You see Jackson Darts, which obviously, you know, it's TBC, as Paul would say.
Yes.
It's TBA.
Vikings are going to have to play Jackson Dart later this season.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but you're seeing these young guys come in and make an instant impact, and then sometimes you're seeing these young guys almost like old school NFL, where because now we're expecting these instant results. Everybody's got to be the best right away. Even Caleb Williams looks much improved from a season past. So you got to give JJ a little bit of time, but this is also a Vikings team that's on the clock because this is a win now operation. You got Justin Jefferson in his prime. You got Jordan Addison coming into his prime. You got a loaded offense. I mean, you know, offensive line struggles, you know, regardless of that. And you got a defense that on paper, it could be one of the most talented defenses in the league. It's not playing out that way. You know, it's been a rough go for B-Flow so far in 2025. But in general, this is a team that's built to win now. So you got to figure out something. If it's not JJ, you got to figure out what he's got or what he doesn't have, so you can move in the right direction.
No doubt. We're going to be getting into more Vikings talk later. Like I said, around 4:20. Yeah, you know, something else. Yeah, it's good. It's good. The Vikings are good for business. Coming up next, we're going to stick with the Vikings theme. Or you know what? Actually, before we get to that, I think you have a ghost story for us. I forgot about the ghost story.
Oh yeah, I do have a ghost story. Are we going to do the ghost story, Paul?
What I was thinking we would do here, we're just letting everyone in on what's going to happen here. I don't know if you've seen this in your emails, but AWS, Amazon Workspace, is also having a little bit of a hiccup again today.
Oh.
And so some of the software that we use to clip out our segments that we play back closer to the news, our sort of more timely newsy segments, we're just unsure if that's being affected right now. So what I was thinking we would do is our next guest, Jamie, from Fangirl Clothing, she is in the building. So the thought would be, let's get Jamie in after the break, talk Fangirl Clothing. We're going to get Grace in the chair. I think, Adam, you're going to step out for that next one, and Grace is going to sit in there. And,
are you protesting against Fangirl Clothing?
I knew this would come up. No,
Adam,
so you hate women in sports. Just say it. Just say it. I'm just
Great.
I'm kidding.
But I want to leave you with something before we go to break. While that segment was on, I did a little bit of Googling, and I've got I have some bad news for you, Adam, in terms of the inventions, where sports come from.
Okay.
So brace yourself for this, okay?
Okay.
So American football evolved out of rugby.
Yeah.
Very British.
Yeah.
But
Which evolved
the first
out of
game was in New Jersey.
Evolved out of soccer, right?
Yeah.
Then I looked into baseball. Evolved out of a bat and ball game out of England, first documented in 1744.
Also invented in New Jersey. Yeah.
The ice hockey
well, that's
evolved,
Canadian. We gave that to the
It was
Canadians.
Canadian, correct.
Yeah.
But actually evolved out of an English game.
Come on.
You
guys can't take credit for all this
And
stuff.
basketball, which is
Don't you
probably,
dare.
I know, Max, you're not going to be happy with this. It is your closest claim to inventing one of the big four sports, invented by a Canadian here in America.
But still here in America.
But still
That's an
here in America.
American invention.
Invented in
That's an
Massachusetts.
American
By a
invention.
Canadian high school teacher.
All right. I mean, fine.
I'm sorry to drop it. I'm sorry to drop the truth bombs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all three of those sports that he just listed out, all were invented, and maybe their origins are somewhere else.
Yeah,
maybe the
sure.
evolution of them came from somewhere else. But
Yeah,
they're all
who cares?
invented
You can
in the
trace
United
everything.
States.
That's like saying, like,
what
oh
I'm
yeah,
saying.
beat poets invented hip hop. That's
Right.
no. Maybe it evolved out of that, but it ain't. I'm not listening to the last poets and it's calling them the first rappers.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying, Paul? I appreciate you trying to give your country cousins some credit over there with the English and the Canadians, your Commonwealth.
Yeah.
But this is America, damn it. If it's invented in America on American soil, we're taking credit for it because that's what Americans do.
That's right. We're also taking credit for Fangirl Clothing. It's a Minnesota-based clothing store for women, by women. One of the co-owners, Jamie Buck.
Sweet.
She's standing right outside with Grace. We're going to welcome in Jamie and Grace coming up right after this. Don't worry.
Welcome back to the afternoon shift. I got a new co-host in the seat. It's Grace Henry. What's good, Grace?
Oh, I'm so happy to be here today.
It's always a lucky occasion when we have you in the studio. What are you doing here today?
I am here to talk about my favorite collection I've ever seen for the Vikings.
Oh.
And actually, I met her at the state fair. Her name's Jamie Fisher. She's awesome. She owns Fangirl Clothing. And actually, she's giving us, I think, insider info because this is today, this drop. We are the first people that are seeing
Afternoon shift exclusive. Yes. Breaking news here. Welcome to the show, Jamie. We appreciate you joining us. What is kind of like the origin story behind Fangirl Clothing?
Yeah, Fangirl started a little over 7 years ago. Truly just saw a problem and wanted to fix it. So wanted to find some game day gear that women would actually love that was curated for them. I grew up a huge Minnesota sports fan and diehard Vikings fan, definitely. And so just started piecing together some t-shirts and sweatshirts to wear to games and started a small Etsy shop, and it just took off. So yeah, started about 7 years ago, eventually launched a website in 2018, and then have just been seeing a ton of growth since then in partnerships with the Timberwolves, the Minnesota Lynx, and now my favorite to date, the Minnesota Vikings.
Wow.
How do you even get started with something like that? I know you said you started with an Etsy and everything, but where do you even begin? Like, you had this idea. Do you start with like the idea of the clothing, or do you start with the products? Like, how do you even get started if you want to start a small business like this?
Yeah, we honestly started with t-shirts from, let's say, like Target, and then you'd create a design, and I mean, it was truly homemade, like ironing decals onto a t-shirt. And then once we realized there was such a demand, we started to learn all the ins and outs of apparel. So learning where to source from, all about screen printing, embroidery, different decoration techniques, and then just kind of blending the two of them together. We really lean into that like comfortable, cozy, quality fit, and then also an understated design. So we want something that fits in your closet. You don't just have to wear on game day. You can wear it out to the supermarket, brunch with friends, just out and about in the city. And it's not like, oh, you're going to a game. And so it's just like great casual wear, but then is also great for game day at the same time.
For sure. And this is high quality stuff, as you can see. This isn't bootleg merch. This isn't Temu where Vikings is spelled with a Z or something like that. This is official, an official collaboration. How do you go about getting that like official collaboration status?
Yeah, especially with the Vikings, it's been years in the making. I mean, I always look at the NFL as one of the most like prestigious leagues. And so we really started in the NCAA. We started with the Minnesota Gophers, actually, just to dip our toes into licensing, learn all the rules, the requirements, the ins and the outs. And then have, been working with the team at the Vikings for the last couple of years to kind of finalize this and bring it to life. So this has been many years in the making.
Wow, so it took you 2 years. So you've been talking to the Vikings for 2 years, correct me if I'm wrong, but how do you even get started with that? Like, did you talk to them on designing the products, or was it all independent? Kind of give us the behind the scenes on that.
Yeah, kind of just started with, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we've done well with some of the other teams in Minnesota, and here's what we think we can bring to you. And so kind of started with a mood board and created different designs, brought some of our kind of like key garments to the table, shared samples. And then once they kind of saw that mood board and our vision is when we were like, okay, yep, this is a go, let's move forward. And then we were able to create all the designs internally just based on what we love, what our customers have loved over the years. And then, with their approval and, in collaboration, we came up with this.
So do you want to like take us through some of these designs, each and every one? I mean, look, you brought so many beautiful pieces of apparel here. Do you want to just like take us through the kind of like the process from like start to finish, like from an idea to what we're seeing right here?
Yeah. So everything here is like cut and sew. So we work with a manufacturer and we say, this is how we want it to fit. We want it to be this color. We want it to be this design with this technique. And so it's a 7-piece collection. It's all exclusive. So it's kind of a once it's gone kind of situation. And we really leaned into our like fleece garments, which obviously are really important in Minnesota. And so these are just like some of our staple crew necks that we've kind of perfected, that and our hoodie as well. So really like premium, like warm fleece interiors, kind of that like oversized slouchy fit that's just like really trendy right now. And then bringing in a lot of colors that don't necessarily scream Vikings, so not using just the traditional Vikings purple and Vikings gold, but bringing in some more like muted colors that just like complement women and what they want, you know? And so we also added some really fun details. We have like a Vikings logo here on the sleeve, some really nice like embroidery work. This kind of has like a really fun like felt finish that's really just like elevated and high end. So yeah, we kind of just brought all of our favorite pieces from past collections and past ideas together to build this.
What I love is they all look very different from each other. It's not, there's no copycats, but they all are cohesive in some way. I really, really appreciate that. Well, what's next for you? I mean, the Vikings, NFL collaboration, that's huge. Do you want to expand to beyond Minnesota?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We would love to continue the partnership with the Minnesota Vikings and see where it takes us. Obviously, yeah, to expand to other NFL teams. The Minnesota Twins is on our radar as well. Would love to work with them and just really round out those professional teams in Minnesota. So yeah, we're really hoping that this collaboration kind of gets us to that next step and we can continue growing.
Is there anything that you've like thought of, like a piece of apparel that you haven't been able to quite execute yet that's like on the horizon?
I think there's some fun pieces. I would love to do a jacket, like almost a starter type style jacket. That's always been top of mind. Probably some different like t-shirt styles. We really lean into like the graphic like boyfriend tee, but bringing in some of the newer cuts that are kind of popular right now. And then would love to get more into accessories. We do hats here and there, but would love to do some accessories and like stadium bags as well for some of the pro teams.
I love it. I love it. And I know you have a collegiate collection. Could you just tell me what universities you guys have apparel for?
Yeah, well, we have 15, 16 now, I
wow.
think.
Dang.
Yeah, so local, we have the University of Minnesota, the Gophers, and then also Duluth campus, Iowa, South Dakota, I guess SDSU, USD, Ohio State, the Ohio State, I think is how they're referred to.
Got to put that in the capital T, capital H, capital E.
K-State, KU. They're all listed on our website, fangirlclothing.com.
I love it.
What's kind of been your journey as a sports fan? Like, what sports did you fall in love with when you were a kid?
Yeah, I played a little bit of everything growing up: basketball, soccer, fast pitch softball, and then really got into watching sports like in my early 20s, I would say, and I've always just been, a huge Vikings fan, riding the wave of, can we bring home a Super Bowl? I'm still a believer.
You're one of the few, yeah.
I know we can do it. So, it's just, I love the community that it brings. Like, I love that it's the one thing every week my husband and I look forward to doing together. And now we're bringing our son into it and getting him all swagged out in his cute Vikings gear and going to games and getting friends together for, watch parties. And it's such a fun community. Whether we win or lose, it's obviously more fun when we win.
For sure. Speaking of kids, are you thinking about expanding like a kids collection possibly?
We would love to do that. Yeah, some sort of fan baby, fan kid. Yeah, it's definitely there. I mean, I need to figure out how to make the cute, teeny tiny clothes and like how that works from a manufacturing standpoint. But yeah, it's been on the radar. People have been requesting like the mommy and me look, so kind of like a matching, matching item. So
that would be awesome. I would order that for me and my daughter. Yeah, for sure. We just got matching pajamas over the weekend. I'm so excited to wear them. I know it's like fangirls, and the whole like inspiration was behind like not finding like cute sportswear for women and stuff like that. Because I remember back in the day, it was just like a jersey, but it's pink, you know? And it's like, that's terrible. Like, this looks
Thank
awful.
you.
Like you said, like, it's like, and you can only wear it at the game. And even at the game, you look a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
But if it gets big enough, like, or if there's enough demand, would you guys branch into like fan dudes?
Gosh, it's so funny how often we get that question. Because
I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm not trying to be that guy.
I swear almost everything in the store is already for fan dudes.
Yeah.
But you never know. We do
Right.
get a lot of requests. So we think about it. But for now, it's like Fangirl really is for the girls. And,
Yeah.
and
We
bringing
got
them
enough
into
stuff.
that
Yeah.
space.
We got enough stuff
Absolutely.
anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, let us have one.
I know.
thing.
Okay. Fine.
Well, thank you so much, Jamie. I cannot believe we're getting the first sneak peek of all this. And it
Yeah,
is, I mean, it is
awesome
so
stuff. High
comfy,
quality
cozy.
stuff.
I mean, I have one of the U of M sweatshirts, and I wear it to every game, and it's just the best. And it's cozy, and I can wear it to work, but I can, wear it to a game without looking like a crazy Gopher fan, wearing the big golden hat
Yeah,
and
for
everything.
sure.
So thank you so much for coming in today. We really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
And
thanks for
if
having
people
me.
want to, if people like what they see here, where can they find out more about Fangirl Clothing?
Yeah, fangirlclothing.com. You can find the collection. It's live. And then we're also on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok as Fangirl Clothing.
And you are on the NFL website as well, too.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. Available on shop.vikings.com as of today as well.
Oh,
and then
dang.
we'll also be available in all 3 of the Vikings locker room team stores come this Thursday, 10:30.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. Like we obviously this great clothing and obviously even better inspiration and message behind it. So we really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course, Jamie Fisher, the co-founder of Fangirl Clothing. Listen, I know she said no fan dudes. I might have to, take one of these, just secretly slip it on. I want, hopefully you're not going to tell nobody, right, Chris?
No,
Okay,
no,
cool.
absolutely
Yeah,
not.
just keep it between me
We'll
and you.
keep it chill.
Okay,
It's okay.
we'll
Yeah,
keep it chill.
yeah.
Speaking of keeping it chill, chill right there because we got more afternoon shift right after this commercial.
Welcome back to the afternoon shift. Max, we got a very special guest in the house.
We do.
Ahmad Hicks. He hasn't been with us for a minute. I think it's your only second-year appearance on the afternoon shift.
Second appearance. It's been a while for me. Yeah. Thanks for having me back.
Welcome back to the afternoon shift. I know you were in beautiful Inglewood, California, with the Vikings on Thursday night. What was it like being there? What were some of the sights and sounds from the sidelines?
Tough.
A lot of words you can't say on TV, I bet. Yeah.
It was really good before the game.
Right.
Vibes were high, very optimistic. That locker room after the game, not so much. A lot of downheads. A lot of guys not wanting to talk to media, rightfully so, after the performance that they had just put on. Justin Jefferson normally is a little bit more upbeat and, like, he gets dressed rather, I won't say quickly, but, you know, he gets dressed in a reasonable time. This game, he was just moving in slow motion. Like, you could tell, like, that game, that loss, it really hit home for a lot of the guys.
Yeah, because the Vikings don't usually just get dominated like that.
Nah.
Because sometimes they lose, you know, but we're not used to them getting absolutely dominated like that. And in a game like that, it's hard to pinpoint one specific thing. This is the reason that they lost. But if you had to pick just one thing, what would you say is the main reason that they got that belt to butt whooping on Thursday night?
I like that. Trench play. Trench play starts with the offensive line, defensive line, and they sunk millions of dollars to those two categories, offensively and defensively, and you just haven't seen that return on investment right now. Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, they were good that first game, but kind of have been a no-show the last couple of games. I mean, this team traded away Harrison Phillips because they expected so much from those two guys on the interior defensive line. So didn't see a lot from them. Dallas Turner didn't have a great game either, filling in for Andrew Van Ginkel, so they certainly miss his presence. And then offensively, I mean, Donovan Jackson, I won't have too much criticism for him. He's a rookie. You got to let him get some games under his belt. He was also injured for 3 games. But Ryan Kelly, guy they paid $18 million for 2 years. He's only played 1.5 games for them. Will Fries, he got 5 years, $88 million. He didn't look good. There was one time where he hit Carson Wentz before Wentz even had a chance to drop back and do anything. And then Darisaw, you know, he's making a lot of money. Came out after the first quarter. Brian O'Neill making a lot of money. Didn't play this past game. So if I had to pinpoint an area, it's the offensive and defensive lines. You can't do anything successfully in the NFL if you can't run the ball and you can't stop the run.
I feel like that's what all the smart Vikings people are talking about is the trenches. But, you know, the national conversation about the Vikings always is going back to the quarterback position.
Yeah, for sure.
Max and I talked about it earlier. I'm curious to get what's your take of this whole J.J. McCarthy thing? The indelible image of that Chargers game was him scampering away when Justin Jefferson got hit, and it looked like his ankle was okay. Right. It's a very strange situation. What do you make of it?
Look, Carson Wentz just got placed on season-ending IR. He's about to have shoulder surgery. So they just came out and announced that they just put him on IR. So that tells you everything you need to know. Did you guys see how many times Carson Wentz got hit this past game?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who plays quarterback in this offense if you can't protect the quarterback. And that's what we said last year with Sam Darnold. He looked great in a lot of games. So did Kirk Cousins a couple years ago. But they also got hit a lot. And when you play good teams with good defensive lines, we saw what happened in the playoffs last year versus the Rams. Sam Darnold got sacked, 7 times? He had no time to throw the ball. So, yeah, you can rush J.J. McCarthy back from injury, but okay, you saw the whooping that Carson Wentz took.
Sure, yeah.
How do you know that J.J. McCarthy is going to be healthy? And then, he tweaks the ankle. Now he's set back for another 6 to 8 weeks. So, like, it's easy to put the blame on the quarterback, especially a young quarterback. But if you can't protect the quarterback, that says a lot. So I think if we're placing blame, it's on the decision makers who decided to go out and sign these guys. A Ryan Kelly, who had a history with concussion issues. A Will Fries, who hasn't lived up to expectations. Like, that's who you put the blame on. I think you got to look at the offensive line before you point the finger at the quarterback, because when you go back and you look at J.J. McCarthy's first 2 starts, he didn't have the expected starting 5 on the offensive line up front. He didn't have Jordan Addison because he was suspended the first 3 games. Yep. And that was the only wide receiver that he built a connection with during training camp, because they just brought in Adam Thielen a week before the season. And then Justin Jefferson missed all training camp because of a hamstring injury. So where are you building chemistry as a quarterback?
Right.
So it's easy to blame J.J. McCarthy, but it's like, dude, you had Jordan Addison all training camp. You didn't have Jets. Now you got Jets, and you don't have Jordan Addison. And you also don't have a good offensive line in front of you. Right. Come on now. And it's only your second NFL game. So I think people need to be a little bit more patient when we're talking about J.J. McCarthy. Like, let this guy go play 4 or 5 games under Kevin O'Connell. Let him understand where blitzes are coming from, his protections and things like that, before we just put out, this Amber Alert that's saying, oh, my God, he's not a good quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So I just think patience is needed. But I don't think anybody can play quarterback in this offense if you don't have 5 guys in front of you that can protect you.
Yeah, and you got to give Carson Wentz some credit because he played through a lot of pain, visibly in pain. I mean, he's probably going to have like a Luke Skywalker thing. Have a mechanical arm, but obviously, like you said, a lot of the ire is always directed towards the quarterback. And fans that were watching on TV were particularly mad about a cut. The Vikings are getting their butts absolutely obliterated, and then the camera cuts to Carson Wentz, and I believe an offensive coach smiling. Josh McCown, the quarterback's coach, yucking it up, kind of smiling, laughing, and not just like cracking up, laughing. And a lot of fans were mad about that. Do you think that's much ado about nothing?
Sometimes you're like, you laugh when you're in pain. Right. Sometimes you laugh when you're frustrated. I've been there before. Simone tells me stop laughing, like if I get mad all the time. Sure. And it's just like sometimes you can be looking at a coverage and it's like, dude, look at what we had here if we had a little bit more time. It's like, my God, So it's like one of those laughs, It's not like, oh, hey, we're down, but, vibes are still good. No, it's like sometimes you look at a bad situation and all you can do is laugh. Like sometimes you're so frustrated, all you can do is laugh. And I think that was one of those moments. Like I didn't think it was worth asking Josh McCown about that. I didn't think it was worth blowing up social media about, because look, what if you looked at what they're looking at and you see a wide open wide receiver, but you see 4 out of 5 of your offensive linemen getting beat? Yeah. Of course we're going to laugh at that because it's like, oh, my God, if I just had one more second, I'm getting a touchdown right here. So it's like they could have very well been looking at a play like that. So I think people were frustrated for sure, but it's like, a lot of the people frustrated don't really know what goes into playing football. Like, that's the ultimate team sport. Like, you need 10 other players to do their job in order for you to be successful. And so sometimes when it's just one player over and over again that's, causing the demise for your offense, sometimes all you can do is laugh, like, at a situation.
Right. Laugh now, cry later.
That's exactly.
Right. A lot of the national commentators are ready to throw in the towel for this Vikings season.
For sure.
You look at the upcoming schedule. It's not getting any easier. At Detroit this upcoming Sunday, the Ravens, they probably will have Lamar Jackson ready to go.
Right.
The Packers, I know that you're not going to say no, but or I know you're not going to say yes here, but are you ready to throw in the towel on this season? They're in last place in the NFC North.
Selfishly, no, because that locker room is tough when they're losing like that. Like it's hard to come up with the different variations of the same question each and every week about where do you go from here? How do you fix this? How do you do that? But also on another note, it's kind of like, all respect to general manager Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, but his drafts have been terrible. So, all right, you throw in a towel, you tank for this season. How do you know he's going to hit on a first-round draft pick? Right. His first ever first-round draft pick, Lewis Seen, he's gone. Who do you have from his first draft class? Jalen Naylor, Ty Chandler. Neither one of them play meaningful minutes for this team. So it's like, all right, second draft, Jordan Addison, cool. You hit a home run on that one. The next draft, J.J. McCarthy, Dallas Turner. Neither one of them have lived up to their expectations. Donovan Jackson this year. We're still waiting to see what he's going to do. I think it's too early to put a verdict out on him, but it's like, what are you throwing the towel for? Like, are you getting all these draft picks? Like, are you going to hit home runs with these draft picks? So far, he hasn't been hitting home runs. And I think that's the problem with the Vikings right now. They don't have a ton of depth on their team, and that's because of the general manager's inability to draft well. You look at the success of the Philadelphia Eagles. You look at the success of the Detroit Lions. They draft extremely well. They develop within. Yeah. The Lions just got a big win this past week versus the Buccaneers on Monday Night Football with 4 backups in the secondary, and you couldn't tell. So my thing is that speaks to their general manager, Brad Holmes, and how well he's drafting. So all right, throw the towel in. But are we going to capitalize on a draft?
How easy is it just to fire the general manager? I mean, we see college football coaches getting canned.
I don't think it's that easy, especially when you just sign them to, I think, a 5-year extension before the season. Right. The owners are very tight about their money. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I think that comes out of a different salary than what you pay the players. So it's like, is the owner, I don't know the details on Kwesi's contract, but are you willing to throw away $30-40 million and then have to go pay another general manager, $30-40 million? If I'm an owner, I ain't trying to waste $80 million. I just signed you. Go fix this. You know what I'm saying? So I think that people are right for saying throw in the towel, but all right, let's look at the flip side. How do you know he's going to nail the draft pick? And you have so many holes to fill because you have all these guys, aging guys on multi-million-dollar contracts. You got a lot of holes to fill. So how do we know you're just going to solve all those holes or fix all those holes and fill them with the draft? You haven't proven you can do that before. So why should we believe you're going to do that this season? So throwing in a towel, it means nothing. Go compete. Go see what you have in J.J. McCarthy. Go try and get a playoff spot. And if you fall short of that, at least you have some confidence to move on to next year in the offseason.
And you kind of can't throw in the towel because, like you said, you invested so much money into this team, a team that a lot of people from the outside looking in thought this was a team that's just a quarterback, some competent quarterback, not even superstar quarterback play, competent quarterback play away from possibly making it to the first Super Bowl in decades. And I think people thought the defense obviously was a kind of a question mark coming into the season, but I don't think people anticipated, and obviously there's been injuries and lots of stuff going on, but I don't think people anticipated the struggles that the offense has been having throughout this season.
No.
And I think a lot of people are pointing to Kevin O'Connell's play calling. People are kind of Kevin O'Connell's had this kind of honeymoon period this whole time being in Minnesota, and now he's finally for the first time getting questioned, and people are questioning his play calling. People are questioning the offseason additions and stuff like that, and a lot of people are upset about the lack of a balanced attack. You brought in Jordan Mason, you got Aaron Jones. I think a lot of people thought that was going to be more of a factor offensively. Do you think Carson Wentz, J.J. McCarthy, Maxx Brosman, whoever the hell it is, could benefit from a more balanced attack offensively?
Yeah, for sure. But if you're getting 1 yard or your running back's getting hit in the backfield every time you run the ball, what do you expect them to do?
Right.
Like you can handle the ball off on first down, but if you get 1 yard, all right, now second and long. You got to make it manageable to become, to convert and get a first down. So you got to throw the ball. And then if you don't have an offensive line to protect, you certainly don't have an offensive line to go run the ball. You know what I'm saying? So I do think there is some criticism there for Kevin O'Connell, rightfully so. I think this is the most criticism he's probably ever faced since he's been here in Minnesota. And I'm sure he's feeling the pressure right now because, like you said, it has been a honeymoon phase for him. And somebody made a good point the other day. They said, is he really a quarterback whisperer? Because the quarterbacks that he's inherited, Kirk Cousins, lengthy veteran, Sam Darnold, former, first-round pick, just needed some pieces around him to be successful. So it's kind of like, all right, we got to see what you can do with J.J. McCarthy. Like, you're the quarterback whisperer. Let's see what you do with this quarterback. You know what I'm saying? But I think he's known for those long, drawn-out plays, the double moves and stuff like that. When you have guys like Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, you want to get the ball downfield. You want to push it downfield. So, I can't sit here and knock him for that because when it's going good, it's going good. You know what I'm saying? Like when Sam Darnold threw that 97-yard touchdown to Justin Jefferson last year, backed up on the goal line against the 49ers, all was good.
Right.
But now that it's not working because the offensive line is so bad. So it's kind of like you just can't take away offensive coordinators' bread and butter. And I think their offense is predicated on deep over routes, big crossers, post routes, double moves, things like that. And you need more than 1 second to throw the ball. And whoever has played quarterback hasn't had a ton of time to throw the ball this year.
I know you broke the news at the beginning of the segment. Carson Wentz out for the season with season-ending surgery there. Do the Vikings, do you go look for a veteran now? I mean, right now the quarterbacks are what, McCarthy and Brosmer?
And Desmond Ridder.
Desmond Ridder is there, of course, from the Falcons. Maybe do you tap back into the Falcons? Is Kirk Cousins going to call? I mean,
no, he's starting this week, is he not? I think Michael Penix is out.
He started this past week, and he did terrible. I think they got 3 points in that game or something like that. Like, he literally played awful.
Yeah.
So, no, you don't have any more draft picks to trade. You don't have any more capital to go out and go get another player. Like, you already wasted 2 draft picks going to go get Adam Thielen, who I think has less than 15 catches this season. It was known, they got to go get a wide receiver. They got to go do this. They got to bring Adam Thielen back. And he's just a third down specialist now. It's like, so you don't draft well, then you just gave up 2 draft picks to go get Adam Thielen. So it's like, what are we doing? Well, I would say a pick swap in a 4th rounder, but it's like you gave up a 4th rounder for Adam Thielen who you're not even using. When you had Jalen Naylor on this team, you should have just trusted a Lucky Jackson or somebody else that you had on your team. So, look, no, you got to figure it out internally. What they have now is what they're going to have. So you got to figure out what you got in J.J. McCarthy, and you got to cross your fingers that this offensive line protects him and keeps him healthy. If J.J. McCarthy gets hurt again and he doesn't do well, it's Maxx Brosmer's time. You know what I'm saying?
Maxx has been calling for that.
I'm just saying. It's good for me. I'm Maxx Brosmer. Maxx Brosmer, I get to keep that bit going.
Yes.
I got my fingers and toes crossed for J.J. McCarthy, though, because something's got to work out. The Vikings are 3-4. I think already fans are tampering their expectations for this season compared to what they were preseason. What do you think is a realistic expectation for this team for the rest of the season?
Look, man, I made a bet with one of my friends at the barbershop that they would win 10 games this year. And now I'm sweating that bet.
Right.
I'm like, why did I bet on the Vikings? But I was sipping the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, they got these guys. They got all these guys offensively.
When being around the team, nobody. I said it on the show before. It's like J.J. McCarthy is like a white Gandhi or something. Nobody had a single negative word to say about J.J. McCarthy at all. It's hard not to drink that purple Kool-Aid.
Yeah, man, it was tough. So I don't know. Like, I really don't know. Like, do I think 10 wins is possible? Nah, because that means they have to win 7 out of the next 10 games. I just don't think that's possible. Realistic window, probably 7 games, 7 wins, if that, 8. I mean, because you're talking about you got the Ravens coming here. You know, you got the Lions. You got to play them twice.
Yep.
You got to go play the Packers twice.
Yep.
You got to play the Bears again.
Yep.
Like, it don't get easier. I think the Commanders, they play the Commanders,
the Commanders
too.
and the
Like,
Cowboys.
The Giants look good, and the Cowboys are playing good.
like,
Prescott
gotta
is
go,
a,
gotta
you
go
know, top 5
to
MVP
gotta go to
guy right now.
Dallas. So it's like, you look at that schedule, man. It's hard to pencil in W's right now, especially if the defense isn't playing up to their expectations. So they are 3 now. Honestly, it's hard to draw in 4 more wins right now. Painfully to say, but I think if they get to 7 wins, we're kind of happy. But I don't think anybody's happy. But you're like, whew, geez, at least they had some fight going down the stretch, you know, because they very well could finish the season like 4-13. Like it could be that bad. You know what I'm saying? If they continue to play the way they did. Now, a lot of guys were optimistic in the locker room after the game. They're like, oh, it's a college season now. It's 10 games left. Still a chance for us to go out there. You know, they're like, oh, Detroit thinks they're going to get a cakewalk, and then we're going to go in there. But it's like, y'all ain't beat Detroit in the last 5 meetings. So it's like, you know, like, I don't know, man. So it's like, so I would think 7 wins. Maybe I think is probably where I would put them.
Who was our friend from the Vikings that had a double-double and some In-N-Out fries? He posted up.
Oh, Ivan Pace Jr.
Ivan Pace Jr. right after the game.
Did you get some In-N-Out after the game?
I didn't get it after the game, but I got it as soon as I landed in L.A. I did go get some In-N-Out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got to.
Within the first 2 hours that we landed, I was at an In-N-Out. I didn't get a double-double, but I did get animal style on the fries and a burger.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you don't play linebacker for the Minnesota Vikings. So you can eat whatever the hell you want. Yeah.
I mean, look, after a game, people don't realize, like, if your games, it was 5 o'clock their time, 5:15 West Coast time. These guys get to the stadium at like 2 o'clock. Your last meals are like 12:01. Your game ended at 8-9. Like, you're starving after the game. So, like, I get people are frustrated. Like, no one wants to see a player post after a game after they lose. But it's like, tough. Like, this is like a business, and sometimes you have bad days at the office, but you don't go home and wear your attitude at home all night long. You know what I'm saying? Like, you flip a switch. Like, when you get outside that locker room, it's like, I still have a life. And so, like, look, I understand. Like, it's one thing if, like, you lose by 40 and then you posting your touchdown and your celebration an hour after the game. It's like, well, dude, read the room. Wait till the next day. But it's like posting a burger. I really don't know if that's that big of a deal. I think that's just angry Vikings fans mad at everything.
Right.
So, yeah.
But we're just pointing our anger in every direction at this point. Taking it out on everybody.
Burgergate. I love it. Ahmad, just to promote some Fox programming, we got the World Series tonight. You going to be watching? Who are you rooting for in the World Series?
The underdog. The underdog.
The Dodgers, right? Because they had a worse record than the Blue Jays.
Nah, the underdog, man. The underdog, man. When you talk about baseball, I think one of the things that kind of pains me when I watch baseball is you look at teams like the Yankees, you look at teams like the Dodgers, and it's like, all right, you get the best roster that money can buy, and then you got another team over here that's spending like a tenth of what they spend on that roster. Like, I feel like there needs to be some type of salary cap, like there is in football, like there is in basketball. Like, come on, Shohei Ohtani, you give him $700 million, but he's deferring how much of $670 million? Like, come on,
he's making $2 million this year.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on now, like that's.
To be fair, the Blue Jays had the 5th highest payroll this year.
I get it, but it's still not the Dodgers' payroll. No. Like, as you know, but that being said, I'm just a fan of good competitive baseball, good competitive sports. So I love when the Blue Jays went out there, because I was on record. I told Simone, I was like, nobody's beating the Dodgers. I was like, they have like Mookie Betts playing shortstop. Like, what are we talking about?
Right.
Like, this is like one of the best teams. But it was great to see the Blue Jays win and Vlad Guerrero Jr. and them just come out there and do what you want to see. Like, and I think that's what you love about sports. It's the beauty and like the underdogs and the people who you don't give a chance to win, and then they go out there. That's what makes, you know, sports exciting. That's what creates everlasting memories with you and your families and things like that. So I'm just rooting for good baseball. I don't want to see blowouts. I don't want to see 12-4 games. I don't want to see complete game shutouts and, you know, like all that stuff. Like, I'm trying to see competitive baseball. Get into the bullpen. Like, take it down to the 9th inning. You know what I'm saying? Like, create some drama. You know, I think that's best for all sports fans, because who wants to see blowouts in the World Series and the championships? I'm sure, man. It always makes you feel better as a fan. But I think I love the moments, like, where as a fan, you're sitting at home, your heart's pounding, your palms are sweaty, and you're feeling like the emotions the players are feeling.
Very nerve-wracking.
I think that's what makes a great sporting event, because then it's like at the end when you win, or the Dodgers win, you're like, whew, that was great. Let me go watch the highlights. I love love the dramatics of it. And then when it's a blowout, it's like, all right, change the channel. What's up? You want to watch Netflix, babe? Like, all right, let's put something else on.
That was me after that grand slam. You know, the other day, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm done with this. Holla at me if you make a comeback. I'm out, bro. All right, I'm watching Love Is Blind.
There you go.
So I'm rooting for the Blue Jays though.
Friday was tough. Ahmad, we appreciate all your perspectives here. Thank you so much. Enjoy the Vikings beat. Where's your next travel with the Vikings? Where are you going?
I don't go anywhere until December. I got back-to-back weeks going to Dallas, then going to New York. So I'm going to take some time to anchor on Saturdays now, fill in for Dawn Mitchell, and spend some more time with Houston, my son, and Simone, because I've been traveling a lot lately, from the WNBA finals to college Big Ten media days to the NFL. Like, so it's like I've been all over the place the last 2 months. So it's going to be exciting to kind of just sit at home, be with the family, watch some college games on Saturdays, before I go to work and all that stuff.
For sure. We can hear it in your voice, dog. I mean, give this man a damn day off. He's hustling out here.
It was the sinuses got me as soon as I got that. Like this weekend, I literally didn't have a voice the last 2 days. So it's finally starting to come back a little bit now.
Awesome. Ahmad Hicks, Fox 9 sports reporter. Ahmad, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you. More to come from the afternoon shift after this. Welcome back. We just had Ahmad Hicks in here. He kind of broke the news about Carson Wentz having some season-ending surgery and provide some more clarity on the Vikings quarterback situation.
Absolutely. There's no quarterback controversy here. Not that there was, regardless of the surgery. But we saw, if you watched it on TV, you saw Carson Wentz was visibly in pain. Listen, regardless of how you feel about him, he went out there and he did not tap himself out. You could see that he was ailing. His arm was probably, it looked like it was going to fall off. I've never seen a player grimace like that in real time, quite like Carson Wentz was. So obviously he played through a lot, and clearly he needed season-ending surgery. So the quarterback controversy is over. It is JJ's team to take on into the future.
And his gift is Aiden Hutchinson and the Detroit Lions defense.
Yay! Merry Christmas.
It'll maybe JJ will have a little bit of winning a national title at Michigan. Maybe going back to the Wolverine state will kind of help him out, getting back on his heels for the NFL. But It's not a gift going against the Lions, and the way the Vikings Vikings defense has been playing, the Lions offense is going to be a really tough test for them too.
It's going to be really tough. I mean, you're throwing them into the fire. Yep. Hey, what do you got? You know, we don't have an easy game. This ain't the Miami Dolphins. This ain't the Cleveland Browns. We don't have an easy game for you to ramp up in. You're thrown right to the fire against one of the best, not only in the NFC North, but in the NFC and in all of the NFL.
Sure.
And obviously the Lions look shaky out of the gate, but they're back to being Lion-esque. I'm sure they're one of the Super Bowl favorites. So we're going to see what JJ's got against some of the best of the best. And again, Carson Wentz out for the rest of the season. Props to him. They're shutting him down just like the government shut down.
That's right. The government is shut down. It's a great segue. It's affecting national parks. We had the chance to talk to Jeff Mao, the superintendent of Glacier National Park from 2013 to 2022, to get his perspective. Let's listen into that interview again. In that clip, if we have it, this stuff is just wild about how people are able to access these parks like this. It's just like crazy.
It's kind of just like unregulated free for all right now.
Let's see.
My goodness.
What? They're just.
I mean, that's
crazy.
So it should be. It's worth noting that base jumping. This is Yosemite National Park here that we've got, and where they're jumping from is El Capitan, the really famous climbing wall that you may have seen in the documentary Dawn Wall. So lots of people go out there and go rock climbing up El Capitan, but base jumping is not allowed usually. And so the big question is like what these people. What's the impact of these people doing this, because there's no one there right now to get on top of it and make sure that it doesn't happen. That's kind of the big concern. And when you see how tiny they look against those mountains, it's a very big drop.
Is it bad that I thought that El Capitan was just the name of a theater on Hollywood Boulevard? It is. It's a very famous, very famous theater on Hollywood Boulevard.
I just thought
the
it was
Pantages Theater of
Los
Angeles.
Okay,
Yes.
I didn't realize that.
Very famous theater.
Wasn't it? Isn't that an athlete's nickname, El Capitan? Am I
Sure,
tripping?
it probably is.
I feel like it is. I feel like I didn't
know that was a national park thing.
I had no idea either.
Yeah, it does look beautiful. Anyways. Today is day 27 of the government shutdown. The national parks are being affected. Here to talk to us more about how they're being impacted is Jeff Mao. He was the superintendent of Glacier National Park from 2013 to 2022. Jeff, welcome to the afternoon shift. How are you, sir?
Good. Nice to be with you.
It's good to be with you, too. Jeff, you were the superintendent at Glacier back during the government shutdown in December 2018 to January 2019. Can you bring us back to that time? What was it like being the superintendent of Glacier during the shutdown at that point?
Well, Glacier National Park, of course, has a lot of connections to Minnesota. I have a lot of connections to Minnesota, but there was a lot of attention as to what was going on. And keep in mind that shutdown in 2018 and 19 actually happened in December and January. So there wasn't a lot of activity going in the park. You know, there's some skiing and snowshoeing going on, but certainly wasn't the height of visitation. And so it's a little different this time around, you know, because we're still, even though the Going to the Sun Road, which everybody comes to drive, is the upper sections are closed due to snow. It's closed for the winter. There's still people visiting. The colors are spectacular this year. So there's a lot of interest here. And I hear that from the business community that, boy, this season is really sort of hanging on, even though there is a shutdown that's taking place. And we certainly learned in 2018 and 19 that the longer the shutdown goes on, the more issues you see, similar to what you just showed with base jumping. You know, I saw some footage from Yosemite as well earlier today with just the sort of line of cars. It's constant coming in through the past the visitor gates, the entrance stations, but they're not stopping because there's nobody there to collect their fees or to give them the information they need to know about how to behave when you're in a national park.
Yeah, it kind of just seems like a free-for-all right now. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think one of as we've seen visitation really take off in the national parks, we're seeing a lot of people enjoying the parks and people who've never been to parks. And so they don't necessarily know how our national park system is different than, say, your city park or being on Forest Service lands, and, you know, the issues with dogs, the issues with wildlife, you know, visitor safety issues. Those are the things that people are missing when they're coming in the gates. And, you know, it's sort of, makes it easy for people who want to do things like base jumping or camping illegally or going up Half Dome without getting the proper permit. It makes it easier.
Yeah, it's just
And
been
there's just not
absolute
enough
chaos.
staff to monitor it.
Absolute chaos at these national parks, and just kind of seems like a free-for-all. Everybody's just kind of doing whatever they want to do without people there to kind of safeguard everything. And obviously there's all different types of impacts all around the scale. But what is the environmental impact of this government shutdown? Because obviously that's kind of top of the list, is keeping these national parks pristine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the staff is key to that. National parks are not designed to operate with minimal staffing. I mean, they're high visitation areas. We have lots of visitor facilities that need to be maintained, water systems. It's as a superintendent, it almost feels like you're running a small city, really. And yeah, when the staff aren't there, I think it just, opens things up and to a lot of activities where people don't even think or recognize the impacts to the resources. So, garbage, there's a lot of people expect to see garbage cans and expect that somebody's going to empty it at the end of the day. That's not happening necessarily. The staffing is so thin that, garbage accumulates. We're seeing people with camping where they're not supposed to, having campfires where they're not supposed to. I've heard reports of dogs on trails, which usually are prohibited. There's just a number of resource impacts, but it's also visitor impacts as well. And not just visitors, but students. I mean, national parks are incredible places for education programs. And the National Park Service has really built up its education programs, inviting school kids to come in, learn about the parks, learn about the values of our national parks. Most of those programs are just not happening right now. And there'll be, I won't say a whole generation, but there's definitely a year's worth of kids, the longer this goes on, that is, or at least, a month's worth of kids anyway, that normally come to our parks, who are not going to have that opportunity. And, that's part of your birthright as an American citizen, is to understand and appreciate our national parks.
And Jeff, I've just got a quick question. Without the staff, national parks, especially something like Glacier or Yellowstone, where you've got really large, potentially dangerous animals, is it a scary place when you don't have the staff there? Because my experience when I've been to Glacier, or you come across a grizzly bear, a ranger isn't very far behind or very close by to kind of warn people, don't go any further, or stay the distance that you need to stay. Without those staff, surely it's a dangerous place to be, right?
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, you're talking about the bear jams. We call them bear jams or wildlife jams, when there's, wildlife next to the road and the cars all stack up and people get out of their cars. And I think we've all seen those YouTubes from Yellowstone about people getting way too close to wildlife. And what sometimes happens in that case is, whether it be buffalo, whether it be elk, whether it be bears even, moose, that sometimes they don't appreciate being that close to people, and they'll take a charge at them, they'll take a run at them, and yeah, it can be danger. But I think the lack of staffing also is just that sort of visitor response, whether it's a car accident, whether it's somebody who's fallen on the trail. There's not adequate staff to respond to a lot of those emergencies, and so it puts a lot of pressure on outside search and rescue needs and things like that.
Jeff, I want to go back to December 2018 when you had the shutdown and you were at Glacier. What happened to your employees during that 2-month stretch while they were furloughed? Did you kind of keep them warm and tell them what was going on? Did some of them leave and never come back permanently? Did you retain most of those employees? Like what were those interactions like?
It was endurance. What we used to do is we had a Facebook page that wasn't part of the government system, or that we'd use to sort of stay in touch. We try to look for volunteer opportunities to bring people together. So volunteering at the food bank, or doing litter cleanups, or whatever made sense at that time, to just keep ourselves connected to each other. I think that's. Yeah, I'd say one of the biggest impacts of the shutdown is the impacts on the organization, because when you start losing touch with people, that it makes it harder. Did we lose people at the end of the shutdown? There are a few folks that might have gotten frustrated with that and decided they need to move on to some place that didn't go through these things. I was just talking to somebody in the park today about how's it going, how's everyone doing, and are they finding ways to support each other? And they said, yeah, it's going on okay. People are hanging in there. There's still a lot of uncertainty because the current administration is still saying that there's more risks to come, and that's a big unknown for a lot of people. Is even if the shutdown ends, will they have a job? On the other end. So it's been a really tough 9 months for a lot of people in the Park Service. There's just been so much organizational change and frankly chaos in how things are being managed.
And I mean, obviously, you guys at the parks do an incredible job keeping the parks clean, keeping people informed, and a million other things. How can the regular person help in this situation in the meantime while the government is shut down?
Well, I mean, I think as we see what the impacts are, and like you said, there's a whole litany of impacts that are accumulating if you have the right sort of media feed. And as a visitor, if you have to go to a park, how you can minimize that, how you be sensitive to what some of those issues are, educating yourself about that beforehand. Though quite honestly, I am one of several superintendents that signed a letter to the Secretary of Interior before the shutdown, and actually just a week ago to the Secretary of Interior, urging him these parks should really be closed until there's adequate staffing. That's kind of the bottom line for us, is that unless you can protect the resources, you really shouldn't be allowing visitors in the park. So it's a difficult position right now, because while Glacier is sort of at the tail end and getting ready for winter, which means there's not a lot of activity in the park, other parks in the south are, they're just going into their busy time. So for them to sort of, throttle back and think about how they're going to operate it going into the busiest time of the season, it's a very difficult no-win situation for staff, for the resources, and to some extent even the visitors.
We are back here. That was Jeff Mao, the former superintendent of Glacier National Park, telling us all about the government shutdown's impact on it.
Yeah, again, it's not one of those things that's probably top of mind when you think of the government shutdown, but obviously these kind of things have wide-ranging impacts reaching and affecting all of our national parks across the great USA.
Yeah, and the National Park's Instagram account is beautiful, much like ours is.
Yes, and I appreciate Paul taking my advice. I did see a little bit more me on there. It's still not quite enough. But you can follow us, Afternoon Shift _Fox9 on the old IG. We're still waiting for our 200th follower.
No, we got it.
We got it?
We got it on Friday. It happened.
What the heck?
It happened.
Oh, I'm unfollowing.
It happened.
Do we have 200?
No, I think we're above 200 now. You can't. There's no recall like that.
Paul bought some bots. He sabotaged me. He bought some bots.
The 5 o'clock news is coming up next with Kelsey and Simone, and we'll see y'all tomorrow, right?
Absolutely. Same time, same place here on the Afternoon Shift. You got 23 hours. Do with it what you will. Just meet us back here tomorrow. In the meantime, I remain Max Fuller.
Adam Llorens.
Peace, y'all.
This is Fox 9 News at 5.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at 5 o'clock tonight. I'm Kelsey Carlson.
And I'm Simone Woolridge. A lot to get to today, so here's a look at some of the stories we are following. The government shutdown is now on day 27, and SNAP benefits could freeze